Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. Now, we're all slightly concerned over here in the UK, certainly, and no doubt in various parts of the world, what will happen if this crisis with the money interrupts us and changes us over, as the government says, particularly the UK government with its digital pound, into a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, a currency that can be programmed and therefore it can control what you can and what you can't buy, taking you out of the private into the government's hands, potentially. So people, as you know, on my channel have been wondering what we can do, and there's been all sorts of interesting ideas put forward. And then somebody suggested, well, why not deal in gold? And as we know, gold is quite heavy, it's quite small, and if you've got a lump of it, it could be quite a lot of value, and how do you get change from that? Until somebody introduced me to Goldbacks. And I'd never heard of them, and I investigated them. Somebody showed me them. They looked amazing. So I thought, I need to get somebody on the show to tell me all about them. And I have Jeremy Cordon, the founder and CEO of Goldbacks.inc. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Here's a Goldback.
Oh, look at that. Yes. Isn't that beautiful? And that's the back with the gold on it. Now, if I'm right, that's 1,000th of a troy ounce of gold.
That's exactly what this is.
And so that makes it able to be carried in a wallet so that you can actually trade or buy in gold completely privately without anybody else getting involved, assuming both parties are happy with that.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. So here's a wallet here.
Let me just cut to a bigger picture. There we go. Oh,
Sure.
Look at that.
So there's multiple denominations of Goldbacks. There's a 5, a 10, a 50. I had a 25, but I think I spent it.
And they look amazing, and I have handled some because, as I mentioned at the beginning, a contact who will be coming on the show talking about setting up an eco city, and they want to use Goldbacks. That's what they want to do. And I thought it was a brilliant thing. Now, of course, you're in America. This is an American idea. You're in South Dakota, if I've got that right. And according to your website, what I love is this sentence here where it says, the Goldback is the world's first physical interchangeable gold money that is designed to accommodate even small transactions. And I think that's what people are really worried about if you're dealing in real consumables like money, commodities. I beg your pardon, not consumables, commodities. And
I think you're right.
Right. So where did the idea first come from? And then I'm going to find out how you make them.
You know, I've been worried about the dollar for a long time. You know, probably since I was, just barely an adult. We had a politician here in the U.S. His name was Ron Paul, and he talked all about inflation and central banking and the Fed, and he talked a lot about gold and silver and sound money and all those different things, and that kind of put me on a journey, put me on the path to where I'm at today, where we've been trying to figure out what you can do about it, right? I mean, do we go back to everybody has a little bag of gold nuggets and we just deal with those? I mean, if the currency falls apart, we still have to trade with each other.
Yes.
And if we don't want to use the central bank digital currencies, you have to use something. And what does that look like? And how do you make it easy? And I've done cryptocurrency, I've bought cryptocurrency, and I've tried to use it. And it's a little tricky. For a couple of reasons. I mean, you have like a 40-digit wallet ID and then a 40-digit password you can never forget. Then, you both have to have, your smartphone, and then you can't mistype anything, and you got to send it over. And sometimes it takes a while, and some of them are faster than others. But, I was talking to a guy yesterday. He's lost 95% on his cryptocurrency over the last 2 years.
Right.
So if you're trying to avoid a fiat currency collapse,
yeah,
I mean, like that's, you're not quite getting what you want there. And some of these crypto people, they say, well, don't worry, we'll protect you from collapse in our cryptocurrency. We'll make them safe. We'll peg them to the pound or peg them to the dollar.
Right.
But that's why I bought crypto to begin with, is to
Yes.
not be part of the pound or the dollar, right?
Absolutely. And also, I would imagine that one of the problems, if the currency collapses, then and it's backed by nothing, trust. If you're going to introduce something new that's going to substitute this or be the new currency, whatever it is, or the new money, I suppose I ought to say, then trust in it must be absolutely essential. And if you've got something that has its intrinsic value in and of itself, then you've rebuilt the trust.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. If I made Goldbacks and they weren't Goldbacks, they were just, Jeremy Cordon bucks, and they didn't have any gold in them, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would use them, right?
No.
I mean, people, they want to have some intrinsic value in their hands. And the Goldback has all the beauty and the allure of gold that makes people tend to want them.
Mm.
And it's not just people that are informed and awake and aware of the issues that are going on, and they're aware of inflation and all those other things. Very average people look at Goldbacks and they see how kind of attractive they are, and they tend to want them.
Yeah.
And that makes it a good money.
Absolutely. So let's find out then how they're made, because I guess that's something that people will be, can they be counterfeit? Is it easy? Are they expensive? And will the gold on the back, I suppose, number one question is, will that scratch off?
No, those are all fair questions. So the same technology that makes a Goldback is used in microchips, and it's used in, it's called vacuum deposition. So it puts a layer of gold in windows, in sunglasses. And what you have, it's a deep space vacuum chamber where all the air is sucked out, and you have a target that's a 50-pound slate of gold getting hit with a laser. And that gold gets sprayed down onto a polymer that's rolling through that collects the gold, and it can be measured very precisely. And then it gets sandwiched in between two layers of polymer, right? So all the gold is protected on the inside. Everything that you see in the Goldback that looks like gold is gold.
Right.
So all the gold's protected, but because it's such a high-tech process, it's extremely difficult to counterfeit. I mean, we're talking every single Goldback is serialized.
Right. Okay. And so you can't scratch it because it's sandwiched between the two
No,
polymers. Yeah.
can't scratch it. All
Yeah.
the, there's no gold on my fingernails.
No. No, no. I
No.
suppose because people just, would think, well, in and out the wallet and being in and out tills and exchanged and what have you, if it was just sprayed on the back, or people could, of course, a bit like the old days when they used to chip the coins, they could scrape
Sure.
enough and all of that.
This
And
is
it's
this is one that I've been beating up for about 5 years.
oh wow, okay,
So this has been in my wallet. It's been in a folding wallet most of that time, and it's got all of its gold still. So these are designed to be very tough. Plastic's very tough. These
yes,
polymers are very. It's stronger than any national currency that's out there right now, where you've got a thick double layered polymer protecting the gold. So it's very secure in that way.
and on those particular notes, because I know you, as you showed us at the beginning, you did different denominations. As thousandths of a troy ounce of gold, quite lightweight, I would. I mean, seeing you hold them around, they just seem very, and I've held them myself, so I know
Sure.
they are. But not that much difference from an ordinary note, really, other than they are stunningly beautiful.
Hmm. Sure.
So, what happens when you have a higher denomination?
So this one's a 50 right here, and you can, if I bend it, it's a lot more substantial, right? I mean, there's a lot more here
Yeah,
with the 50, but it's not heavy. I mean, this is a 20th of an ounce.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
not,
But you
you
do
know, I
get
don't,
you get a visceral sense that it is worth more, which is nice. You know the money is, whereas a note, an ordinary fiat currency, they're all the same. So there's a psychological difference going on.
yes, absolutely. I mean, you can feel the weight and that weight difference. A big part
Mm.
of it is just there's 50 times as much gold in this 50
Yeah.
as this one right here.
Yeah.
So this has 50 times the amount of gold as the one denomination.
And being gold, the value is unlikely to drop over the current years, or over time, because gold tends not to drop
No,
in
it tends
value.
not to.
I mean, there might be fluctuations, of course, but
Yeah.
the general picture is so. Let's say that people go, do you know what? This is the best thing since sliced bread, and we want to buy it and invest in it, and suddenly shops are now trading with that or using this, and bye bye to fiat currency. Is there enough gold to be able to maintain significant numbers of notes of goldbacks?
Yes. I mean, if you look at all the gold in the world today, or the value of all the gold in the world today, what is it? You know,
No.
I could probably look it up right now. Value, because it changes of all the gold in the world. Let's see here. Okay, so it's saying it's about $12.2 trillion. Now, if you put it in the form of gold back, your cost money to split it into a thousandth of an ounce. It'd be about $25 trillion worth of cash. Value of all the cash in the world.
I love the
I'm gonna
fact
find
you're
out here.
looking this up on as we
Yeah,
go.
I know.
That's
I
fantastic.
wasn't.
Why
I was
not?
not. I didn't know you were going to ask this. Okay, so there's
No, no,
eight
no. It's
trillion
fine. It's
U.S.
great. I love
dollars
it.
in cash. So it's not. That's just telling me how much U.S. dollars there are. So if a third of all the cash in the world was dollars, which might be right, then yeah, there's enough gold. And if there
Well, that's
wasn't, I guess the value of the gold would go up, and then there would be
well.
enough.
That's yes. That's true. So are people trading with? I mean, it sounds fantastic, and you just think that people would be throwing away their fiat currency immediately and just switching over to it, which would make you extremely happy. And of course, people would have value in their pockets again instead of promissory notes, in which, as I understand it, when you buy anything with a promissory note, it's not you who's actually owning the things you buy. Whereas with this, you'd actually own the object because you have traded lawfully, let's say, for that object.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you're worried about central bank digital currencies, this is something that, the gold back, you can hold it in your hand, you can have it in your wallet. If I give you a gold back, that's a private transaction. And the only people that know about that are the two parties involved and anyone we decide to let know about that.
Yeah. Is it so? So it can't be counterfeited, but I guess somebody could produce something that looks like a goldback by spraying something. So how would you know that it's gold in your hands and not a very clever copy?
We have spent $10,000 trying to make a counterfeit gold back,
Oh, okay.
and we haven't come up with anything even kind of close with other technologies out there. It's, and somebody would have to make a counterfeit gold back for $4.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not super worried about it. We are rolling out new anti-counterfeiting features every year. Within a year or two, I mean, we'll have micro QR codes, and you can authenticate goldbacks and value them with your phone, if you want. I mean, we're looking at constantly staying ahead of counterfeiters. But up until now, if you want to make fake gold, you can make a fake gold coin or bar with about $50,000 worth of equipment. And a lot of folks in, Southeast Asia and China, that's exactly what they're doing. And the fakes are, they're starting to look better and better.
Mm.
They're able to sneak them into the Western markets. And it's a huge headache because if you have a fake gold bar or a fake gold coin, that's a $2,000 problem, right?
No, I agree, totally agree. And I mean, the reason I just press on that is because if we are moving into commodities like gold, a lot of people, perhaps everyday people, are just so not used to dealing with gold or seeing it or using it as an exchange. And it just seems to me that it is an area where you could fool a lot of people very quickly until they are much more familiar with gold, and those sort of things.
You,
But
you probably you probably could. I mean, the Goldback, if you handle one, they look nice.
yeah,
They don't look cheap. It doesn't look like, something that came out of a cereal box. They're
no, no,
nice.
absolutely no. And
They're
I back you up there because I've handled them, and they are very beautiful objects. And I understand that if people say had an organisation that wanted an organisation that wanted to deal exclusively in that, you could print your own front to it, so you could put your brand or your village or your bank, if you had a bank or whatever it was, on the artwork. Is that right?
you could. I mean, so there are five different US states that each have their own Goldback. Goldbacks are being sold all over the world right now.
Yeah.
I get web traffic daily from every country, every IP address, every nation on Earth. So there's a huge amount of interest in Goldbacks right now. We have over 1 million people that own Goldbacks. They're really making their way all over the place. In fact, you're going to start seeing Goldbacks more often. We have operators in the UK and in Australia and in Canada. They're going to start selling Goldbacks in ATM machines, where you can go to an ATM and you can put in cash and it's going to dispense Goldbacks. You're going to see those within a year.
Right.
We've got another company that we're working with. It's Kinesis, and they're the largest kind of non-US based gold crypto company in the world. They have a gold token, a silver token. Their third token is going to be a Goldback token. And that's coming out sometime in the next, well, I don't think they have a release date yet, but it could be sometime in the next, month or two. I think it's going to be this year.
This is
So
really exciting. I mean, this is a dream come true, presumably, for somebody like you, with such an amazing product and an answer to a problem that we're all now beginning to realise is coming tumbling towards us rather rapidly.
So I want to talk to you about something because you're based in the UK, and I haven't had the opportunity to talk to anybody from the UK about this.
Mm.
I'm thinking about, so this is a US state for the Goldback series. I'm thinking about issuing a Goldback in a year or two that isn't attached to any specific jurisdiction, but it's more of like an English language series Goldback, and to use it to really celebrate the history of the British Empire in the English language.
Right.
So if you're gonna buy Goldbacks in the UK from an ATM or through Kinesis or through any of these other dealers, we have dealers today that ship to outside the US. But if you're buying outside the US, you could get something that might have New Zealand on it, or Australia, or Canada, or British Africa, or what do you think of that idea? Do you think it would be?
Well, I certainly
That would
think
be a good idea.
Yeah, I think something that had an English flavour to it would definitely encourage I suppose a British flavour, I ought to say, really, would encourage British people to look more at it, look more. What's the word I'm looking for? More endearingly at it, because it reflects this country that we're in, and I suppose it doesn't look like it's a foreign country to them, even if it's beautiful and gold.
Sure.
If it has a British flavour to it, then I think absolutely people would be embracing it incredibly enthusiastically.
Now this wouldn't just be British. I mean, so it's the English language series. So I think we would do it as, kind of British or English history tied to these different places like Australia and Canada and, maybe India. We've got over 100 million. There's more people that speak English in India than the UK.
Right. That's fair.
So it'd be an English language gold back, but maybe we have like one of the denominations specifically, showing off the ships of the line or something, something very British with the Union Jack and everything else.
Well, that would be lovely. Thank you very much. I suppose when you talk like that, it sounds then very much more like a global currency, which of course is useful for global has such a bad name these days with one world governments and things like that, so people get a little bit twitchy, especially on my show if you're starting to talk about global things, because so much is about being local and with food, say, growing local, eating local, keeping your money in the local economy, etc.
Sure, absolutely.
However, if you've got like gold, it was already a global money in and of itself. So the fact that you can travel anywhere, you don't have to bother with traveller's checks and things like that, or different changing the denomination into anything. Unlike the CBDCs, of course, it's a private transaction. You can carry however much you like with you, and nobody's going to be knowing what you're purchasing. But it is a global money and recognisable in all the countries, which would be wonderful. And then if it's got ships of the line or whatever with the British flag and stuff, so much the better, he says.
Well, that would be the English language series. I mean, we could do a French series of gold backs. We could do a Spanish language series of gold backs. But, if I were to do a gold back series for every U.S. state and every country, now I have to deal with over 1,000 different designs and keeping everything in stock and getting them where they need to go. And, maybe we'll get there someday. But I think that might do better than, going to Australia or going to the UK or going to Canada and saying, well, there's a state in the United States and they have a design and they have a gold back and they're trading with gold. Wouldn't it be nice if you had one of those? And maybe that's good enough for today, but I don't think that's going to be good enough for, the next year or two. I want to get away from that.
Right. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think at the moment most people will be interested because it's a value-based system that they can hold in their hands. And whilst the design, as you've already shown, is beautiful, it's the fact that it's gold, it has value, and nobody can take it away unless they actually break into your house or steal it, and people can protect themselves as they need to. And from my point of view, worrying about what one does with savings in the bank, wanting to purchase things on an everyday basis, and with the threat of the CBDCs or fiat currency and interest rates and things like that, having something that is intrinsically valuable in and of itself, it just appeals in so many ways. And the other thing is people can understand it.
It's very self-explanatory. I mean, you brought me on your show and you said, well, and then you explain Goldbacks in 30 seconds, and now I got to fill 30
now you're
minutes.
redundant.
It's so self-explanatory. The gold is in it. Yeah. It's worth, $4 or £3 or whatever, and you can trade with it, and the average person's inclined to want to take it because it's pretty and alluring, and they want it, and that's really what you want out of your money. And by the way, the value measured in dollars of the gold back, it's doubled in the last 4 years. And I think part of the reason why is I think the dollar's really lost half of its value in just that short of time. So we're already in a currency collapse today. Whether the central bank digital currencies are here today or not, our dollar and your pound, they're quickly losing their value together. And I think people are looking for the exits.
I think they are. I think people are extremely worried, especially if they've got a significant amount in the bank that is devaluing every day. What about when it comes down to just simple transactions? I mean, I'm at the moment avoiding supermarkets because there's a lot of big brands there that the money is actually being sucked out and disappearing into big companies' profits, and they're not really doing what I feel they ought to be. Plus, food-wise, it's all highly processed and not very good, and I want to support farmers and local farm markets and smaller independent family-run businesses. So I would love to see in some of the small businesses where I am down in the south coast of England being freely able to trade in gold. Now, presumably there's no legal reasons why they can't do that.
I am not an expert on the law there, but no, I mean, generally speaking, in most places around the world where you have freedom, you can barter with whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now, my experience, and this is my personal experience, and I've bartered with these things maybe more than anybody. I'm finding that when you talk to the business owner, there's a 50 to 80% acceptance rate when you offer payment in gold. And that's something that might be great, to do for your channel. Why don't you try it out? Get some Goldbacks and go to one of these, local farmers, right? And offer them payment for some produce in gold and see if they take it.
Yeah. That actually, that's a challenge I'd like to pick up, actually, and film that and bring that to the channel. I think that would be fascinating to see as they begin to slowly see the advantage of that.
A lot of people, they get it immediately. You say, hey, would you take payment in gold? And they get excited, and you show them a gold back, and it's this beautiful. It's like, I mean, they might be taking a risk on, 20 pounds or whatever. But, for something this pretty, people tend to be comfortable taking that risk. And small business owners take risks anyway.
Yes.
As a group of people, they are risk takers. And what's more risky, to take payment in gold or an inflationary fiat currency?
No, you're absolutely. And if you can get several people, I mean, I'm just thinking of like the little shop that wants to, or my local farm shop that I go to, if I persuade them and then more customers come because they've seen the show and I recommend, and they come in with the gold and they think, wow, this is really cool.
We could send you stickers that say they accept Goldbacks. And, the big trick with any of these businesses is make sure you're talking to the business owner. Yes. The girl that they hired to man the stand, I mean, she is not the decision maker, and she's not going to take your gold. Your chance with her is about 0%. I take it back though. So, we have a burger chain in the United States. It's called Wendy's. And I pull Goldbacks out of my wallet to show people, even when I know they won't take payment in Goldbacks, because they're fun to talk about and they're attention getters. And, it's a way I can introduce it to people. And I offered to make my payment at this fast food restaurant in, Goldbacks a couple of years ago. And, I know they'd say no. The cashier got so excited that he paid for my order and took payment in gold.
Right. Do you know that? I mean, people are doing that when they go into a place and people are offering them cash, and they won't accept cash because they're now digital only payments, which isn't actually legal in this country, because if you offer legal tender, you're supposed to take it, but these companies waive all of that. And so you end up with the cashier saying, in an embarrassed situation, saying, I'll pay myself with my debit card or credit card, and then I'll take the cash. And I can imagine then if it's gold and they're comfortable with it, then they get a gold pack to go and show their friends. Yeah, they've got exactly. Gold. Absolutely. Well, this is really interesting. So here am I in the UK, and I don't know what the percentage is. Probably half of my audience are UK based, as we said off camera before we started filming, and the rest could be all sorts of different places. Very lovely and encouraging, enthusiastic rather, viewers. And I know some will be going, oh, we've got to check this out, which is great. So let me just put up your website, because I have it here. Bear with me. Here we go. I think, where's it gone? There it is. Where can people buy? Can they buy direct from you and you ship them out to them?
Now, I'm a wholesaler. If you go to the top of the website and click Buy Goldbacks.
Here we go.
That's going to give you a list of dealers. Now scroll down a little bit more. So Defy the Grid. A little bit. So Defy the Grid, number 5.
Number 5. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Number 5. They ship worldwide. And I think number 7, Zion Metals, they also ship worldwide.
And you can see, and you can see some fantastic pictures close up if you go to these websites. I'll put the links in the description so people can check it out. Yep. I just want to make it absolutely clear that you've not paid me to say any of this or bring you on. This is purely me asking you about your product. This is there's no kickback or anything like that. Just so that the audience are aware of that.
But if I were to pay you to sponsor Goldbacks in the future on your channel, would you take payment in Goldbacks for a sponsorship?
Well, I can't see why not. That would be lovely. Yeah.
You're part of the 50% then.
That's it. The allure of gold. You see, it is an amazing thing, isn't it?
No, it really is.
I mean, people wear gold. They love gold. They have gold teeth. You know, people trust in gold.
I got gold teeth.
There we go. So if things get really tough, you can melt that down.
I sure hope not. I sure hope I'm never pulling out my teeth.
No, let's hope not. Absolutely. So this is fantastic. I'm just trying to think if there's any other questions I should be asking you. If I noticed in your frequently asked questions that you have on your website, which I had a quick look at, people have asked, or you've got an answer to, which I haven't actually looked at. Is there a discount on large quantities?
It depends on the distributor.
Right.
I mean, there's distributors that'll charge you, say $6. What is that? Like 5 pounds, 4 pounds? I don't know what the ratio
probably,
is. But I mean, they'll charge you quite a bit more if you buy a single.
Right.
But
if you're buying a significant number like 500 or 1,000 pounds worth, then because presumably there'll be a duty to bring it into the country of some description. I need to look into this.
Actually, with Goldbacks, generally speaking, you're not paying any sort of special taxes to bring it into the country. Now, I don't think that's true for India, and obviously, I mean, if you have 100 different, nationalities represented in your channel, I can't speak for all of them, but I know for the UK and Australia, people are ordering Goldbacks without paying any sort of international taxes. That's my understanding.
Right. And if people want to, let's say people just are buying them, they might want to buy. They're buying them A, because they're beautiful, B, because they're flexible and they can almost put them under their mattress, that sort of thing. But if they decide, what, actually I've had enough of this, I want to get rid of 1,000 Goldbacks or however many they've accrued. Presumably they can go back to these dealers and say, I've had enough of this. What will you give me in exchange for all of these?
You could, and the spreads are reasonable. I mean, you might be looking at 5% or something. My experience is that fewer than 1% of people ever sell their Goldbacks back for cash to dealers. The acceptance rate of Goldbacks is so high that people just spend them.
Right.
And they spend Goldbacks. They spend them instead of cash. So they're not using cash anymore. And then they take the cash they would have spent, they get more Goldbacks. And now all of a sudden they're circulating gold in their community. They're getting people kind of away from this inflationary system that's abusing people. And they're really taking control and asserting their independence. And we're seeing this not just in the United States, but all over the world. I mean, here in Utah, where it started, we have something akin to 700 businesses that advertise themselves as preferring to take Goldbacks in payment. And these include gas stations, grocery stores, home builders, professionals, lawyers, doctors, dentists, car dealerships, movie theaters, you name it. I mean, people are excited to take Goldbacks as payment.
Is there any similar kind of competition for what you're doing?
Not yet. And some people say I'm competing with the dollar,
Right.
That,
well,
but,
no.
But there's nothing else like the Goldback out there yet.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, this is very exciting. I'm very encouraged by what you're doing, and I would love to see a system, because we know that the old system is corrupt, it's controlled, and this puts, as you said the words, it takes back responsibility. People are responsible for their own money, and this is an area that I've been talking about, that we as individuals need to take back the responsibility and look after ourselves and not have anybody else control us. And money, of course, is the most controlling thing that there is out there, that you can be penalized. And if you've got gold, you can hold your head up high.
Yeah, I mean, they can't take it from you. If you can have your bills and your cash in your pocket and leave it in your pocket, and inflation can take 15% away in a year.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody broke into your house and stole 15% of your cash, you'd file a police report. But inflation just happens to you, and it's so slow, we just think it's normal.
Yes.
I think you had a video about that recently.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, you wouldn't want to put these into, you wouldn't want to go to the high street bank and deposit these, because
that's not what that's for. No, they won't take your Bitcoin either, and they won't take gold bars or coin. I mean, that's not what they deal in.
No.
You know, you're going to take these Goldbacks and you're going to go to these, local grocers and small businesses, and that's where you can spend them. You know, I got a new air conditioning unit for my home. I don't know if they have those in the UK. It's so mild over there.
Yeah, it's true.
But it was about $3,500, and it wasn't one of the businesses. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, would you take payment in gold? He says, well, I don't know, like, how do I know it's real? And I said, well, let me show you. And I showed him the Goldbacks, and I assured him there's never been a fake one. And within 2 minutes, we were done.
Wow. Yeah, that's the thing. And as it catches on, and more people, and the trust becomes much greater. People are then taking it, and for me, it's that whole thing about the government are not involved. They're involved in so much at the moment, and the tyranny and the dictatorship of governments who are not doing as their manifesto said, and the promises that are being broken. I think people want to feel like they've got something. That they're not trying to bash the government necessarily, but they just want freedom.
They want something real, and they want it in their hands, and they don't want somebody's hook on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like having a water bucket with a hole in the bottom. That's what having cash is like nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to leave the link in the description. People can go and have a look. I shall no doubt be purchasing some myself, and I will go pick up on your suggestion. I shall talk to the farm shop and a few other places, and try and put together a little presentation to see if people will accept it, and if so, whether I can continue to buy stuff. How do people know what they're worth? I mean, I notice you've got the denomination on them, but of course people will say, well, how much is it worth? What am I getting in this gold back?
Go to Goldback.com. At the very top of the website is a calculator. You can use the calculator to come up with the price. And, kind of forcing this issue on me now. We should really probably offer the calculator in multiple currencies. I mean, right now it's just US dollars.
Right. So, okay. So if I was buying, what would I say, 10...
I got to change my calculator. Yeah.
So then they would, if I've got £10, $10. So
you could change the exchange rate to pounds. You could do that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's an extra step. But.
Right. But, those sort of things they can come in due course.
Right.
as it becomes.
Okay, so it's 3.29. So change the exchange rate to 3.29. That's how much one Goldback is worth in the UK. It's worth 3.29 pounds sterling.
Okay.
That was just a quick Google search.
Yeah. So there, I get 4 Goldbacks now for my $10. So there we are. So
that changed the dollar amount too. So what you said is if you owe them £10, then the exchange rate's 3.29.
So Yeah, and you can split the difference with sterling.
Sure.
Yeah, so you can pay close to the mark, whatever the bill is. If it's 20 quid, you can pay close to that, and then the rest in change. And I think it's exciting. I'm very excited to see this, and I've got, as I said at the beginning, I've got a chap who wants to. They're looking at setting up a little eco village project, which they want to get as many people on Goldbacks as possible. So he'll be coming in on the show to discuss how that is going to work. And having spoken to you, I will be a lot more knowledgeable about what it all is.
There's entire communities in the United States that use Goldbacks. Where you have these ranchers and farmers, and they do trades with each other, and they're using Goldbacks and they're skipping inflation.
Right.
We've sold almost $100 million worth of Goldbacks. It's gotten really big over the last few years.
Yeah, I can't see it slowing down either as it grows. Jeremy, it's been fascinating to talk to you. Thank you for spending the time with me to tell me about Goldbacks. I very much look forward to your new series as and when it comes in a few years' time. But in the meantime, I'll be interested in any comments from viewers. Perhaps you're already using it. As you say, there's people in the USA already using it. So that would be interesting to get the comments, see what people say. And also, if you're in the UK, have you heard of it? Would you like to try it? Are you going to go and buy some? Keep in touch and let me know. And let's see if any other communities will accept it and buy it and start trading with it. It would be a fascinating thing. Jeremy, I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you having me. It's been an adventure.
It's certainly been an adventure. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Jeremy Cordon from Goldbacks.inc. I will be back with more monologues and wonderful interviews. Of course, in the meantime, from Jeremy and myself, thank you for watching. Goodbye.